Hello, this is Bud. Ray B asked how he could center some objects within a zone on the board that in itself is not centered in the exact middle of the board, but he would like to put some objects in it. In his case, he's using mostly wording. Let's see what we can do. It's probably not the only way, but at first hand it's one of the ways I would use. We're going to use Ray's pattern to do this. So let's go get his pattern, and here's his sign that he's trying to make. He's got this zone that he wants to stay where it is, and he's drawn this line here so that he knows the distance between the edge of this barber pole section and the rest of the sign. And what he wants to do is have all these words and things centered within this area. First off, I want to look at each one of these word sections, so I'm going to come up here. Okay, this little dot in the center of this filigree, whatever you want to call it, is a word. It's text. So let's double click on it. It's a period, and it is centered within its box. Okay, so let's look at these words, and they are centered within their box. And this is just so I know what's going on. So far, Ray's done a super job on thinking through. Okay, in this section, the Curvy's Barbershop is centered. Okay, this is not a word, it's a cut path, so we'll deal with it a little differently probably, but that gives us an idea of what's going on. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to view, and I'm going to grid lines, toggle grid lines, and I'm going to turn on the grid lines, and I'm going to see how this goes along with that. I've got to have a point that I can use as a reference. Right now it's right over the R. Okay, so if I use the R as my reference, or I can change the size of my grid lines. Let me show you how to do that just in case you don't know. I'm going to toggle them off. I'm going to lay out and snap, and right now they're at a 1/2 inch. I can make them any size I want. So if I make them like 3/4 of an inch and click and come back here to view and toggle them, by golly, 3/4 of an inch puts it almost where I want it. Again, it's right over the R, and I'm just to the right of that line. So I'm going to leave that line just for my own satisfaction, and I'm going to click someplace out here. So now what I want to do is I'm going to highlight Barber, and I know that I want to move it to the right. About like that. Let's see if I can click outside here. Come back and click on this line. So now if I go to Kirby, before I do anything else, I'm going to hold down Control, and I can see that the yellow for the center of these areas are both underneath each other. So I'm doing pretty good there. Okay, so I'm just going to click outside. If I come up here and click on the grow, I know that this needs to come just a hair. And again, if I hold down Control and click on Kirby, I can see that they're pretty decent. Okay, click outside. So now all I have to do is take this one and move it about to there. Again, I'll use your grow. Oops, just a little bit too far over. So I'm going to click outside. And click on that dot again. And then come back to Kirby. That's not bad. Okay. It's a little bit high, since I moved it as everything else happened. Hold down Control, click on Kirby. I'm still okay that way. So now what I want to do is I want to highlight this and probably move it. So you got it locked. Okay, so I have to, how am I going to do that? I'll be back. Okay, Ray, I'm going to apologize to you. These vector lines I can't change or don't want to change because you know how you made them, and I don't want to change your pattern. I'm not going to give it back to you anyway. But let's say you like the distance here. Okay, and you know this vector line is 2.999 inches in length. For some reason, I can't figure out how to move this one. Everything I try fails me at this point. So this vector may have to be erased and redone, starting where you want it to start. You can see that this dot's in, just to the right of this grid line, and you can see the distance here. You could move each of these out or whatever you want to do, because this is dead center within this area. Then all you have to do is space these. Space this one where you want it, and then do the same thing on this side, moving this vector or erasing it and doing it again. But that is one way that I would use to center objects within a zone. Ray B, I hope that helps.